He told me, it's not cheating if you don't get caught. So I made sure he did. I found the girl. I took her out for coffee. We compared dates. Then we made a plan. He walked into his birthday dinner and saw us both sitting at the table. I said, surprise. You're single. I didn't think I'd ever be one of those women. The ones who tell revenge stories on the internet, trying to make sense of how someone they loved stabbed them in the back and smiled while doing it. But here I am, and I'm not telling this to get pity. I'm telling it so no one else ignores the red flags like I did. I'm Morgan. I'm 34. I live in Des Moines, Iowa, and for 5 years, I thought I was in a happy relationship with a man named Sean. Sean was 36, worked as a project manager at a small software company. He was good with words, the kind of guy who could talk his way out of a speeding ticket and still get the cop to smile. When we first met, he made me laugh more than anyone I'd dated before. He brought me flowers for no reason, made me playlists, took me out for sushi even though he hated fish. We moved in together after a year and a half. 2-bedroom apartment not far from downtown. We had a rhythm: Sunday grocery runs, Friday takeout, Saturday night movies. He wasn't perfect, but he felt like home. Or at least I thought he did. About 6 months ago, something shifted. I noticed the small things first. He stopped saying goodnight when he went to bed. He started turning his phone over so I couldn't see the screen. Said it was just habit from work. Then he changed his lock screen. Then his passwords. He started working late more often. At first, I believed him. His job could get intense. Deadlines and all that. But then I noticed something strange. He started showering the second he got home, even if it was midnight. And he'd come back smelling like peppermint, a scent I knew damn well wasn't mine. I asked him once, "You're showering a lot lately." He shrugged. I don't want to bring work grime into the bed. That made sense. Until the night I saw the text. He'd fallen asleep on the couch, like usual. The TV was playing some dumb show. I was grabbing a blanket when his phone lit up. It was face up. Stupid move. The message preview said, "Hey babe, can't wait for tomorrow." Ray, I stared at it like it was in another language. My heart was pounding. I didn't wake him. I just went into the bedroom and cried so quietly Diesel, our cat, was the only one who noticed. The next morning, I pretended everything was fine. I cooked breakfast. Kissed him goodbye. But inside, I was done. I wasn't going to let this slide. I just needed proof. For the next 2 weeks, I watched him. Tracked his lies. I'd ask, "Where are you going?" And he'd say, "Meeting the guys," but I knew his friends were in Minneapolis that weekend. He didn't even bother keeping his stories straight. One night, he left for drinks with the team. I waited 10 minutes, then went into his laptop. I felt sick doing it. I'd never gone through his stuff before. But something told me I wasn't going to like what I found. I was right. His browser history was full of her. Instagram, Facebook, even her Etsy shop. I clicked her profile and felt my stomach twist. Her name was Rachel. Blonde, big smile, yoga instructor. The kind of woman who posted daily smoothie bowls and called her dog her fur baby. And there, on her page, were pictures of Sean. With his arm around her. At the pumpkin patch. At the park. Even at the exact same coffee shop we went to every Saturday morning. Same damn booth. That night, I didn't sleep. I just stared at the ceiling and thought about every lie he told me. Every kiss. Every "I love you." I felt like a damn fool. But I wasn't going to let him make me feel small. Not this time. He once told me, after his friend got caught cheating, "It's not cheating if you don't get caught." That sentence echoed in my head for days. So I made sure he got caught. I sent Rachel a message. Just one. Calm. Direct. "Hi, Rachel. I think we should talk. I believe we're both dating the same man." She responded in 3 minutes. "Wait, are you talking about Sean?" And just like that, the house of cards started to fall. We met 2 days later at a coffee shop on 42nd Street. She looked nervous, like she hadn't slept either. I had 2 lattes waiting. She sat down, and I handed her a folder. Inside were screenshots, texts from him to me, time-stamped pictures, even a receipt from the Airbnb he said was for a work retreat. Rachel flipped through it slowly. Her hands were shaking. She looked up and said, "He told me you were his crazy ex, said you wouldn't leave him alone." I laughed. "He told me you were just a friend from work who needed support." She blinked hard, trying not to cry. "We started dating in September." I nodded. "Same. He never broke up with me. He just doubled his schedule. We talked for 2 hours. Compared notes. Synced timelines. He had been balancing us like a circus act. Same lies, same excuses. Once, she said he missed her birthday dinner because he was at a funeral. That same night, he'd taken me to a movie and kissed my forehead like nothing was wrong. We sat in silence for a long minute. Then Rachel said, "His birthday's next week." I said, "I know." And that's when we decided to burn it all down. "So he's choosing you that night," she said. "Good. He won't see it coming." We made a reservation at his favorite steakhouse, a nice place called Miller's Table on the edge of downtown. Dim lighting, cloth napkins, and waiters who pretend they're your friend. Sean loved it because it made him feel rich. I told him I'd surprise him with a reservation and take care of everything. He was thrilled. He didn't ask a single question. The day of, I told him I needed to run a few errands. Pick up a gift, get my nails done. Really, I met Rachel again. We had lunch, double-checked our plan, and even rehearsed what we were going to say. Neither of us wanted to scream or cry. We wanted him to feel trapped, like the walls were closing in. At 6:45 p.m., we arrived at the restaurant. Rachel wore a simple black dress and pulled her hair back. I wore jeans and a blazer. We didn't dress to impress him. We dressed for war. We asked for the booth in the back, the one under the little fake chandelier. The hostess didn't blink when she saw 2 women there for a party of 3. We ordered water and a bottle of wine. Didn't drink it, just let it sit. I watched the door like a hawk. At exactly 7 p.m., he walked in. He was wearing the shirt I bought him last Christmas. The one he said made him feel like a man. He looked around, smiling, expecting to see me waiting alone. Then he saw us, Rachel and me, sitting side by side, staring back at him. He froze mid-step. His smile twitched, then faded. He looked like someone had slapped him. He walked over slowly. What's going on?" I leaned back and said, loud enough for the people nearby to hear, "Happy birthday, Sean. You're officially single." He blinked hard. "What are you talking about?" Rachel pulled out her phone and slid it across the table. These are the texts you sent me last week, telling me you missed me, that you were stuck in something with Morgan and couldn't leave her just yet." I added, "He told me you were just a friend. A sad little girl from work who needed someone to talk to." Sean looked between us, eyes wide. "Look, I can explain." I cut him off. "Save it. We've heard enough lies." The waitress came by with menus, and Rachel calmly said, "We won't be needing those. We're done here." We stood up. I tossed an envelope on the table. Inside were pictures, texts, and a list of everything he needed to pick up from the apartment by the weekend. He had 3 days before I changed the locks. "You've got until Sunday," I said. Rachel added, "And if you show up drunk or angry, the cops will be waiting." I called the police right away. Then I texted Rachel, just to give her a heads up. 10 minutes later, my phone lit up again. It was a text from him. "You want a war? You got it." The police got there before I did. When I pulled up to the apartment, Sean was already outside, arms crossed, pacing like a dog off its leash. 2 officers stood between him and the door. My downstairs neighbor, Mrs. Heller, was watching from her porch with her arms folded tight, wearing a robe even though it was mid-afternoon. She gave me a little nod as I walked up. Sean spotted me and started yelling before I could get a word in. "You told them I was dangerous? Are you serious right now?" After everything we've been through. One of the officers turned to me and said, "Ma'am, this man claims he's here to pick up belongings, but your neighbor reported him trying to force his way in." "He wasn't supposed to come until Sunday," I said. I looked Sean dead in the eye. "You don't follow rules. Even now." He laughed. A short, dry laugh. "You think you're the good guy in this?" That's when he reached into his pocket and pulled out a piece of paper. He waved it around like it meant something. I saw the heading and recognized it right away. It was a copy of a lease. My lease. He'd printed it out. "You don't get to kick me out," he said. "My name's still on this." He wasn't wrong. I'd been stupid. We signed the lease together 2 years ago. I hadn't taken his name off it yet. That gave him just enough power to cause problems. The officer looked at me. "Is his name on the lease?" I nodded, jaw tight. "Yes, but he moved out last month. I have proof he's been living elsewhere. He doesn't receive mail here. No utilities in his name. I can send documentation." Sean smiled like he'd won something. "You can't just erase me." But I wasn't backing down. "I've already started the legal process to remove you. You haven't paid a cent in rent since February." That shut him up for a moment. But I hadn't even seen the worst of it yet. That night, Rachel called me. Her voice was tight, shaky. "Someone just egged my car," she said. "There's glass by the tires. My back window's cracked. Do you think it was him?" I asked, already knowing the answer. "He messaged me an hour ago. Said, 'Hope your little team effort was worth it.' Then blocked me." I wanted to scream. We'd played it cool, calm, mature. We didn't humiliate him. We didn't post anything online. But he still wanted revenge. And now he was lashing out. I told her to come stay with me that weekend. We were stronger together. I had extra space, and the last thing I wanted was for her to feel alone. The next morning, I woke up to find a note taped to my door. It wasn't threatening. Not directly. But it was enough to make my stomach twist. "You always loved being in control. Guess what? So do I." No name. No signature. But the handwriting? I knew it. I reported everything to the police. They said they couldn't do much unless he made a direct threat. So Rachel and I took things into our own hands. We started documenting everything: calls, texts, weird cars parked outside, even the time my internet suddenly went out for 12 hours and my router looked like it had been tampered with. I had a tech friend come by and he found a small device behind the couch that definitely wasn't mine. I knew then Sean wasn't done. He didn't just want to walk away clean. He wanted to punish me for exposing him. But he had no idea what I was about to do next. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was scared, though I was, but because I was planning. Sean had gone too far. Egging Rachel's car, planting some kind of bug in my apartment. That wasn't just petty. That was dangerous. The next morning, I drove to the courthouse. I filed for a restraining order. It wasn't easy. The clerk gave me a stack of paperwork and told me to fill it out as detailed as possible. I wrote everything: dates, texts, screenshots, even photos of the note he left and the strange device behind my couch. I also included a copy of Rachel's police report about the vandalism. After filing, I sat in my car for a full 10 minutes before driving off. My hands were shaking. It felt like I was drawing a permanent line between Sean and me, and I needed to make sure it held. That same afternoon, I went to the leasing office. I showed them my copy of the restraining order filing and explained the situation. They agreed to start the process of removing him from the lease early, citing safety concerns. It wasn't instant, but it was progress. Then, Rachel told me something that threw a wrench in everything. She was pregnant. I'll never forget the way she said it. She was sitting on my couch, staring at a plastic stick wrapped in a paper towel. "I took 3 tests," she said. I didn't want to believe it, but they all say the same thing. I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. She looked so small sitting there, knees pulled to her chest. "Are you sure it's his?" I asked, even though I already knew the answer. "We stopped using protection months ago," she whispered. "He told me he wanted a future with me." She started crying. Big, silent tears. I didn't know what to say. She was 28. Had her whole life ahead of her. And now she was stuck with a piece of Sean that might never go away. I sat next to her, pulled her into a hug, and said, "We'll figure it out. You're not alone." But inside, I was boiling. Sean had ruined both our lives and walked around acting like the victim. And if Rachel kept the baby, we'd be tied to him forever, whether we wanted to be or not. We talked for hours that night. About choices. About what came next. Rachel hadn't made up her mind yet. She needed time. I gave her space, but I also knew what this meant. Sean had a new kind of power now. Sure enough, the next day, he found out. I don't know how. Maybe he saw her at the clinic. Maybe someone told him. Either way, he showed up at her job. Not yelling, not acting crazy. Just smiling. She called me after he left. He said, "Congratulations, babe. Guess we're stuck with each other now." I could hear the panic in her voice. She was spiraling. I told her to take time off work and stay at my place again. She agreed. But Sean wasn't done. That night, he posted on Facebook for the first time in months. Just one line, "Lies always catch up to you." Some people about to learn the hard way. It didn't mention names, but people started messaging me. Old friends. Coworkers. Even my boss asked if everything was okay. Sean was trying to stir things up publicly now. Trying to drag me down with him. So I decided to play my final card. I knew things about Sean. Things even Rachel didn't know. Like how he once borrowed $5,000 from his company's vendor account to pay off gambling debt. He bragged about it to me when we were still together, said he moved it back before anyone noticed. I'd let it go at the time. Thought he was just being stupid. Now, it was leverage. I called his former coworker, Dave. He and Sean had a falling out a while back, but Dave always liked me. I asked him straight up, "Do you remember anything shady Sean did with money while working at Elevate Tech?" Dave didn't hesitate. "Hell yeah. That guy used to juggle invoices and pocket the float. I told HR once, but they didn't have proof." I asked him to send me what he had. He did. Emails. Transaction records. Even a Slack message where Sean joked about borrowing from the piggy bank. I didn't go to the company. Not yet. I went to Sean. I sent him one email with everything attached. No message. Just subject line, "Want to keep playing?" It took less than 10 minutes for him to respond. "You're seriously trying to ruin my life? You're not just bitter, you're psychotic." I didn't reply. I just forwarded it all to Elevate Tech's compliance team. If he wanted to escalate, so could I. It's not cheating if you don't get caught. So I made sure he did. Final part, 2 days after I sent the email to Sean's old company, everything started to unravel for him and maybe even a little for me. Rachel got a call from her boss. She was being temporarily suspended because of the drama unfolding online. Turns out, someone had emailed her manager screenshots from a fake Instagram account. The message called her a homewrecker and accused her of seducing a man away from his long-term partner. We both knew who sent it. I told Rachel to hold tight. This was Sean lashing out because he was cornered. I just didn't expect how fast karma would hit him back. The next morning, I got a call from Dave. "You did it," he said. "They're launching a full investigation." Within 48 hours, Sean's former company contacted him. I heard through Dave that they were requesting financial records from his last 6 months there. Apparently, there were more discrepancies than even Dave knew about. If they found what I sent was true, and it was, Sean could face real charges. I thought he'd lay low. He didn't. Instead, he posted another cryptic message online. This time with screenshots of old texts between me and Rachel, completely out of context. He tried to make it look like we'd planned to trap him, even claiming we faked the pregnancy to destroy him. It got worse. He showed up at my apartment again. Middle of the day. Banged on my door so loud it shook the floor. When I looked through the peephole, he had this look in his eyes like he wasn't there anymore. "You want to play games, Morgan?" he shouted. "You think this is over?" I didn't open the door. I called the cops again. This time, they didn't just hand him a warning. They arrested him for violating the temporary order. I pressed charges. Rachel did too. That same night, I sat on the edge of my bed and cried, not because I felt sorry for him. I cried because I realized what I had become. I'd spent so much energy tearing him down that I forgot to take care of myself. I'd skipped work, missed sleep, ignored friends. I even forgot my niece's birthday. And the worst part? Rachel had decided to keep the baby. She told me over dinner a week later. She said, "I'm not keeping it because of him. I'm keeping it in spite of him. I won't let him define this kid's life." I respected that. But I also knew it meant Sean would never be completely gone from either of our lives. Then came the final blow. His old company sent a letter confirming that they were pursuing legal action. Fraud, embezzlement, breach of contract. They were even talking to prosecutors. He lost his job. His bank accounts were frozen. And someone, maybe Dave, leaked the whole story to a local blog. It got picked up. His face was on every screen in town. Des Moines tech worker under investigation for fraud, allegedly abused ex-girlfriends. He was done. I thought that would bring me peace. It didn't, not fully, because in my need for revenge, I didn't stop when I had the truth. I went further. I exposed him, humiliated him, turned his life inside out. And maybe he deserved every bit of it, but I also saw what it did to Rachel. She lost her job, got dragged through the dirt, and was now raising a child with his last name. I got what I wanted. But revenge doesn't clean up the mess. It just moves it around. The last time I saw Sean was in court. He wore a cheap suit and didn't look at me once. He pled not guilty, of course. Claimed he was set up. The judge wasn't buying it. Outside the courtroom, Rachel and I stood in silence for a long time. She was showing now. Just a little. I finally said, "Are we better now? After all this?" She didn't answer right away. Then she looked at me and said, "No. But we're free." And that, somehow, was enough.